Gold dealer and Roger Corner associate Ricardo Fagundes was gunned down in front of Palm Court last night. According to police, Fagundes was at PC drinking with a quote-unquote known colleague, got to love those police, known colleague, when he decided to go outside to take a phone call. Seconds later, someone hopped out the car and emptied a whole clip into the poor chap before speeding off. Wow, first the multi-million-dollar drug bust, now murders in the middle of the street. I guess the PPP really is back. Today, 2 security guards at Kaiju News were arraigned for beating a homeless man to death right outside of the workplace. Oh my. 39-year-old Tony Waldron and 49-year-old Jan Licorice. Ha! You do licorice. Waldron and Licorice were charged with the murder of 58-year-old Mohabir Singh. They were remanded to prison until next month. Wow. So not only does Kaiju News not believe in fact-checking, it looks like they also don't believe in employee background checking either. Ha-ha! Speaking of a lack of due diligence, 6 of the 9 companies the government has shortlisted for the construction of the new Demerara Harbour Bridge have either been debarred for corrupt practices by the World Bank or have been involved in multi-million-dollar money laundering scandals. The Ministry of Public Works pre-qualified the 9 companies out of a list of over 54 applicants. In 2017, China's State Construction Engineering Corp was sued for a multi-million-dollar construction fraud scandal in the Bahamas. They reportedly submitted fake billing statements and diverted monies to other projects which caused them to be banned by the World Bank. China's Gezhouba Group Company, I probably said that name wrong. Anyway, Gezhouba Group Company was also banned by the World Bank in 2015 for a set of cock-up work they did in China. Yes, so if they'll wrong their own countrymen, what's to stop them from wronging you next? Well, another of one of the Chinese companies selected by the government was China Railway International Group Company. Well, they were also debarred by the World Bank for alleged gross financial malpractices in the US state of Georgia. Yes, they were ballsy enough to try that crap in the heart of Trumpistan. Interestingly enough, that same China Railway International was selected by the government to rehabilitate the East Coast Highway. After probing the police about reports of gunfire on the East Coast, last night the media was finally able to get the police to admit that they have shot and killed 2 of the Mazaruni escapees and a woman who they claim was a close associate of one of the fugitives. The police said that they had a shootout with one of the men, which ended after the cops shot up the shed the people were in. The dead woman has been identified as 49-year-old Savita Rajkumar, a resident of the squatting area, while the men were identified as Imran Ramsewak and Ryan Jones. A third person was also there, but they fled during the confrontation, allegedly. Just hours after Fagundes was executed in front of Palm Court on Sunday night, police received reports that the suspected getaway vehicle was abandoned on the Linden-Soestdijk Highway and subsequently burned. While police have not yet publicly named any suspects, they do suspect that the call Fagundes received was to lure him out of the club and to his demise. It's been weeks since Kwame was accused of slapping opposition rum shop member Tabitha Sarabo Haley. Well, after almost a month of investigating, Police Commissioner Nigel Hoppy said they aren't convinced that Kwame actually did it. According to Hoppy, the cops saw the tapes and they did see the two argue, but they didn't see a slapping. In response, House Speaker Mansour Nadir basically decided to dismiss the whole matter. As promised, the family and friends of the late Vanessa Lewis Sahadio have continued their protest. Today, they protested outside of the commissioning of a new healthcare centre in Port Morant in hopes of getting the government's attention. They are calling for criminal charges to be brought against the 3 negligent healthcare workers. The 2 nurses were suspended, while the doctor was reportedly sent back to Cuba. It has been over 4 days since Fagundes was executed in a hail of gunfire, and the authorities have given up very few details on the shocking murder. Police Commissioner Nigel Hoppy has actually been dodging reporters since the shooting. On Thursday, when Hoppy was approached, he said he was going to the washroom, but did not return and instead left through a back door and walked across to the officers' mess hall. When he was seen by the media, he said he was going to the mess and continued walking. Wow, what a mess. Since Hoppy wanted to hop away from his responsibilities, Demerara Waves says that broke-down Ben was questioned instead. He dismissed suggestions that the public execution of the gold miner and Roger Corner associate had anything to do with drugs whatsoever. When asked further about the case, Ben said that he hasn't asked for any more information from the police, so he's not going to speak on it. Well, local NGO Policy Forum Guyana didn't hold back and decided to speak on it. They directly stated that this is worrisome because in recent years there has developed a strong link between the cocaine trade and the gold trade in South America as a whole. So it's kinda scary and reminds Guyanese of the Jagdeo era crime wave when someone like Fagundes gets shot down in the middle of the street in front of people. They also called on the government to root out the jerks who exploit the legitimate gold industry for their own selfish criminal gains. Weeks ago, the government promised that someone was going to go down for the millions of dollars missing from the police force, and now it's happening. Former Assistant Police Commissioner Kevin Adonis and Corporal Roll Haynes were today granted bail on several fraud charges. They have joined Police Sergeants Jermaine Fraser and Michael Corbin, who were in March 2020 granted $250,000 bail by the magistrate on similar fraud charges. The four are accused of stealing over $19 million from the force through falsified payment vouchers. A Guyanese fishing vessel and its crew drifted out sea for 2 whole days after they were attacked by at least 12 armed Venezuelans along the Guayana River in Region 1. The attack occurred about a week ago, and the crew was eventually rescued by another fishing vessel. Well, good for them. The boat's captain told the newsroom that the Venezuelans locked them in a room in the boat and stole everything that wasn't tied down. And when I say everything, I mean everything. The GPS, fuel, clothes, documents, food, eating utensils. They even stole the captain's boating license and the catch of fish. Wow, that's just disrespectful. They were eventually able to break out of the room after the pirates left. The boat captain said while he is thankful that they are still alive, he is still calling on the government to do something about piracy on the high seas. So now we've got huge drug busts, multiple acts of piracy, and unsolved public executions. Oh my, 2021 is starting to feel a lot like 2014. The Demerara Harbour Bridge has been damaged yet again. This time a boat is not to blame. A piece broken off from the 9th span of the bridge has forced the Ministry of Public Works to restrict heavy-duty vehicles from crossing the bridge. Additionally, the bridge retractions are suspended until the repairs on the bridge are completed. Edgell said overladen vehicles and the application of brakes after speeding are contributory factors to the damage on span 9. So you hear that, people? Quit putting too much weight on your trucks and speeding on the damn bridge. Police are on the hunt for 5 lowlives who stabbed a 16-year-old student 5 times on Thursday afternoon during a robbery in Annandale. When the child resisted the attack, the suspect stabbed him with a pair of scissors. They took his laptop, cell phone, music box, and his backpack. He was taken to the Georgetown Public Hospital for emergency surgery. Hey UNCUT News viewers, thanks for watching. You can subscribe by clicking on this button over here, or click over there for more news. You can also drop a comment to let me know if you've made it to the end of the video. Goodbye for now.